You're locked into the only podcast for Maine high school basketball. The biggest names, past and present. It's Big Time Hoops, the podcast, right now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Big Time Hoops, the podcast. And he's back, making his second appearance, trophy mode. Only a handful of people have made two appearances, trophy modes here, making his second appearance for a very special episode. We're doing something we haven't done before. We're going to do some power rankings. Power rankings of players in the state. We're doing this the boys episode. So boys power rankings. And he's gone ahead and broken it down by region. We got by class. And then we got overall at the end. So it's going to be interesting. You know, the season should be kicking off here like in 2 weeks. And we don't know when it's going to happen. And so we're just trying to keep entertained, keep the conversation going here. And we'll bring in trophy mode right now. So we talked about before we started recording, you put some time and effort into this, but it was a little bit difficult because it hasn't been the normal off season, right? So where players were at the end of the season last year versus where they are now has been a challenge just because you haven't been able to see them in the way you normally would in an off season, right?
Right. Exactly. And you know, I'm usually out filming, traveling, seeing all these kids, and I've done a little bit of that, but it's just not the typical environment. I haven't seen them some of the best kids face off against some like the best out-of-state talent, which helps me evaluate them a little bit better. And I haven't, gotten up to the other parts of the state or seen those teams come down to the southern part of the state to kind of see those kids compare. But you know, I went to the tier camp. You were there a little bit. Been to some other things. Been to the Black Bear, to the Bears Den, to see Black Bear North play. So I've seen a few of those kids in the Bangor region, and seen the few kids in Southern Maine a little bit. But I'm lucky enough during the past season to kind of evaluate some of these incoming seniors and juniors, and have seen some of the younger kids enough to know who's kind of up next. So
absolutely, that's what I like. I like the kids that are up next, but when it comes to the senior class, I think is kind of talented at the top, right? Would you say talented upper echelon of seniors this year?
Yeah, I mean it's a shame we lost a couple of the best players. Brady Cummins transferred to Governor's Academy from York. That York was in the state game against Hampden, and he's got some D1 looks. And Dom Campbell, who went to Waynfleet, who was on a very good Waynfleet team last year, transferred to Phillips Exeter, New Hampshire. So those two might have been the top two players in Maine, and they're gone. But that we still have a handful of scholarship level players left here in the incoming senior class.
And also, too, just looking at the class of 2022, 2023, got some potential, right? I think there's a bunch of young talent. When you look at like those grades below the seniors, some very talented kids coming up, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the 2023 class, with the size that they have, especially at the top, and some of the pure point guards that they have, that's probably the class that I'm the most excited about right now in Maine. From sixth grade up, of the kids that I've seen, and just the ceiling on some of those kids is tremendous.
Absolutely. So we're gonna jump into it here. Like I said, you've gone ahead and you broke it down. We're going to go by region, then by class, and then we're going to go overall. And so for region, we got three regions. We got North, Central, and South. We'll start with the North region. What's your North region? Is it Bangor North?
Yeah, it's Bangor North. I feel like, as far as how the state's broken up in classes now, Bangor is definitely in the northern region. But, us being from the county, we think of that as northern Maine, but there's so much of the state that's below that. So I feel like it was a fair breakdown to go Bangor North.
All right. So let's just jump into it. If you want, number one player in the North region, who you got?
I got Andrew Swez from Bangor. Tremendous player, has a lot of colleges looking at him right now. Big righty, probably 6'5", 6'6", maybe touching 6'7" now. I haven't seen him in a month or two. working through, I think, a wrist injury right now, but I'm sure he's going to come back strong. I know he's still in the gym with his trainer, Matt McKenzie. And just a big, broad-shouldered kid, can handle the ball. I think, a point forward in Maine, can shoot the 3-ball and score inside. Probably can defend in Maine. He can probably defend 1 through 5 as well. And that's what you're looking for as a high school coach or a college coach.
Also a big-time alum. He was on the Big Time Hoops podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Go check that out, our boy Andrew. Number 2 in the North Region, who you got?
I got Sawyer Depre from Caribou, a county boy, coming off back-to-back gold balls. Didn't get the shine maybe that his brother Parker got as a scorer, but I think that's going to come this year if we have a season. And he's one of the most tenacious kids. He's going to give you a little bit of everything. Plays both sides of the ball, and I'm sure he's going to bring a lot of leadership to that Caribou squad this year under Coach Corrigan.
And for those that think Caribou might be falling off, right? Caribou's still in good standing, right? They got a chance to maybe go back to another state game this year, right?
And I'm sure, some of these kids like Sawyer and a few of the other kids are hungry to take the mantle as the go-to players on that team. And I think they have a coaching staff that believes in them and is probably putting in a lot of hard work. Marana Cook's probably the odds-on favorite as far as what everybody saw last year and what they had coming back. But, Caribou's not going to give it up easily. Sure.
Shout out the county right there. Number 3, who you got in the North?
I got Jax Lin from Washington Academy, point guard, plays for Black Bear North and AAU. Very shifty, can get to the basket, good shooter, good defender. Just crafty. I haven't got to see him a lot in the regular season, but I've seen him in my recent trip to Point Lookout to see them showcase versus Bridgeton Academy and some other teams, and I was really impressed with what I saw out of him.
Yeah, that's a name that's kind of risen, right? From maybe from last year to this year, someone whose stock is who's gone up.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think that last year might have been his first year at Washington Academy. So.
Right, number 4, who you got?
I got Braden Cole from Hampden. He's a wing forward, can shoot the 3-ball, coming off a state championship with Hampden, playing kind of behind in the shadow of Bryce Lodger and some of the other the seniors that they had there. But I think he's really going to step up. He can get up and throw it down as well, so he can play above the rim a little bit. I just like just how even he plays. Plays very calm, under control. So I've got him at number 4.
Hampden just doesn't have any shortage of talent, right? They just keep pumping them out. It seems like every year is just the next one up, right?
I feel like since 2000, like 98 to 2000 range with the Rogerson kid, since then it's just been a steady stream of players, and I feel like that as Hampden has kind of grown as a community, bedroom community to Bangor, I feel like that's kind of and built the new school. I feel like it's just a very attractive community for people with families to move into. So
I'm looking at it. I won't lie. I've looked at Hampden. I might get out of Bangor and move to Hampden here if I can find the right place. Number 5, who do you got?
I got Dylan Huff from Brewer. Tough player, probably an undersized 4 or 5, just because Brewer is small across the board, bunch of guards on the team. So I think he kind of has to play bigger than he is. Can knock down the 3-ball. Just a tough kid that can do a little bit of everything. And it's kind of the glue guy, I feel like, for Brewer, whereas they've got shooters, they got ball handlers. He kind of just gets in the mix because you got last year you were playing against Hampden, who's got Hennigan and Lodger, playing against Sam Martin, Westrich, and Suez from Bangor. And Brewer played them tough despite being severely undersized, and I think he was a big part of that.
And Brewer's going to be tough this year too, right? They got a bunch of talent.
Yeah. They got probably 5 or 6, 7 guys in the rotation back. So, they're going to be tough for sure.
Number 6 in the North.
This is a guy that I haven't seen too much of. I got Zach Dill from Orono. I think he's a rangy wing. Just looking at his numbers from last year, put the ball in the hole, rebounded, and he's long. And so I feel like what he's coming back with the DeSisto, who I've got ranked a little bit lower, I feel like he's got a chance to bump Orno up there in the standings going forward if we have a season.
There we go. Number 7,
I got Kobe Gilbert, big-time scorer, small guard from PCHS. Made the all-star team at Bentier camp this year. Very aggressive. I think his brother plays at UMFK right now. So he comes from a family of ballers. Puts a lot of work in the off season on his body and on his game. If he was like 6'2", I'd probably have him at the top of the list because he just plays that hard. Unfortunately, he's just comes from a smaller school, and hopefully, he averaged like 23 a game last year, so maybe he's going to try to bump that up to close to 30 this year.
All right, number 8.
I go into western northern Maine here with Parker Desjardins from Forest Hills. Another small guard, but strong, kind of broad shoulders for his size. Can get in the lane and score, get to the free throw line, and can shoot it from outside. Got a younger brother. I think that's going to be a sophomore maybe this year. And that combination is probably going to bring forward. They're always tough lately, the past decade. I can see them going back to the D-State game again this year with Parker.
Number 9.
I got Andy Ray from Hampden, kind of a combo guard. I know Lajer played a lot of on the ball last year, and Andy played a lot off the ball. I can see him handling some of the on-ball duty this year. Just a very steady, consistent guard for Hampden.
And we'll go with the last one, top 10, number 10 player in the North.
I'm going to go with Porter Isaacs from MDI. Kind of a big presence for them inside. Just a steady body for them. And I feel like MDI is always in the mix. I wouldn't be surprised to see them make a run at the title and be with some of the solid kids that they have coming back.
Solid list right there. The North has no shortage of talent. How about give me one name, maybe a little bit outside the top 10, who you think maybe has a chance to vault into that top 10 this year? Maybe someone a little bit under the radar.
Yeah, remember this is a senior list right here for the North. And this is a kid that, plays a little bit off the radar, but he's a great athlete, is Logan Martin from Foxcroft Academy. I know he's a great football player, and I can see him kind of making an individual jump and trying to carry that squad, into the tournament berth in a tough Class B.
We're going to jump down to Central Maine. So what's the Central Maine region? What's the geographical area we're talking about for Central Maine?
We got kind of the coast from like Camden. We got over to Mountain Valley in Rumford. And we got, the Farmington, Augusta area, Auburn, Lewiston is kind of our central area. So anything below that, kind of like the Brunswick, Topsom area, is going to be Southern Maine. So.
And a solid senior class from that area. Go ahead with number 1.
Yeah, this is actually a super strong senior class from Central Maine. And a lot of people's probably favorite from Mr. Basketball, Cash McClure. He just has a phenomenal work ethic, had a phenomenal state game last year that impressed a lot of people that maybe hadn't seen him play. I think he had like 34 points and just a phenomenal second half in the comeback where he just wouldn't let them die. Has grown a lot. I think he started out at like 5'4" when he started high school, and now he's in the 6'1", 6'2" range. Just a very steady player as far as how he carries himself, but just fills it up, can score just every variety, 3-level scorer, can hit the pull up in the mid range, can hit a deep 3-ball, can finish with both hands at the rim on both sides, at breakneck speed, and just a competitor, just one of the guys that, like many of the people that you've had on the podcast, like Zach Ray was on, just a guy that's going to do whatever it takes to try to help his team over the top. And with them going down in the state game last year, I'm sure like he's put in an off season like never before to try to get him over the hump this year.
Yeah, you mentioned one of the favorites for Mr. Basketball. He was the winner on our preseason poll that we did a couple of weeks ago. And also another guy, big time alum. Go check out that podcast when we did with Cash a while back. Number 2, who you got?
I got Wyatt Hathaway. Wyatt is definitely one of the best scorers in Maine. He won the most outstanding player at tier camp this summer. He won the one-on-one competition there. Just strong, has gotten stronger each and every year, with it, putting in work on his upper body, and just a great shooter, great pull-up game, can get to the rim, makes his free throws. When you just say a bucket, Wyatt's one of the first names that you would come to mind in the state of Maine, for sure, from Levitt High School.
Then number 3, another Maranacook kid.
Yeah, we've talked about duos before. This kid transferred from Mountain Valley last year to go to Maranacook, and has really, I think, put in the time with Cash. He's an outstanding shooter. Just great balance on his shot. Has gotten stronger physically. And just every time I see him play, every time I see him shoot, I just think it's bottoms every time he puts it up. And he gets in modes where he's gonna hit 5, 6, 7 threes in a game. And when you're playing off Cash, when so much of the defense has to focus on him, you're gonna have open looks. There's no way you can gonna be able to keep Cash out of the lane without multiple defenders, and you're gonna have to help off him. So he's gonna get those looks, and it's just gonna be tough for opponents to focus on both those guys this year.
And that's why Maranacook's got to be one of the favorites to get back to that state game this year. Number 4, someone else whose stock I think we've seen rise a lot this summer. Who you got?
Yeah, I got Jacob Farnham from Mount Blue High School. He has, is still waiting, I think, to fill out physically, but he's got great athleticism, a great shot. He's got a nice handle, nice and improving handle. One of the things that impressed me most is like just following around the state last year. He was averaging like 3.5, 4, or over 4 steals a game, which means he's getting after it in the passing lanes on the defensive end. He's long for a guard. NER just came up and did a profile on the Black Bear program, and they really liked what they saw out of Jacob. And I agree. I think as his body matures, he's a guy that has a chance to have a great college career. But I also think he's going to be tough to stop in the high school ranks this year.
And then number 5, who you got?
I got Matt Parent from Messalonsky High School. Matt is a lefty, probably around 6'1", 6'2", and can really shoot the ball. I mean, he's a guy that the coach, if he's your assignment, the coach is going to want you right on his hip. You're not going to leave him. He's got a nice loft on his ball. It's pretty, like a lot of lefties do. And he's a guy that you're going to see a lot of big shooting performances, from him. And, if you're looking in the box scores this year. So
number 6, another kid from Levitt.
Josiah Learned, real good athlete, kind of the opposite. Like Wyatt is short and stocky, and works really hard to be able to have the physical presence. Josiah's just got that naturally. He's a guy, like I was walking around the gym the other day. He was getting ready for an AU game, and he just windmilled it off one step. I mean, this kid, great athlete, can do a little bit of everything. I'd like to see him really be aggressive, just consistently aggressive. I think if he was consistently aggressive on both ends, he'd have a shot to maybe be one of the top 5 two-way guys in the state of Maine, and then a guy that colleges would be, especially in Maine, would really be looking at it to add to their program.
Number 7, we're heading to Lewiston here.
This is a guy that has a huge upside. And I hadn't seen him in person before this summer. And then the first time that I was in the gym filming, he just absolutely dunked on a kid and just demolished him. The kind of thing you see on, all the highlight films from around the country. His name is Chura Mayan, and he probably the best natural shot blocker in the state. I think his AAU coach, Mikey Harriman, has done a good job kind of helping develop him. And I think we're going to see more scoring from him this year. But honestly, on his team on Lewiston, I think, who is loaded with guards, I don't think he's going to have to do that much scoring. He's kind of like, you think about it like a Nerlens Noel or somebody like that. He's not that level of a player. Nerlens was one of probably the best players ever in New England. But in Maine, he's going to play that style where he's protecting the paint. He's trying to just scare opponents from coming in there. And I just think I hope he keeps working on his game and develops some more offensive touch, and he could surprise some people and really move up this list by the time the season rolls around.
Lewiston, another team to look out for this year too, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think probably the most athletic team in the state, for sure.
Number 8, who you got?
Jeremy Frazier from Camden Hills. Good shooter. That's basically what his game consists of, is just filling it up from the outside. He's going to play off a younger player named Ryan Clifford that we might mention later. But he, can handle the ball a little bit. But you're just looking for him to knock down shots. So if you're an opponent, he's somebody that you can't leave at all if you're playing against Camden this year.
And then our last guy, number 10 in the Central region.
I got Cooper Davis, and he's a big kid from Mountain Valley. I think he averaged about 21 a game last year. I think his athleticism is improving. He's a guy that can dunk pretty easily, and I think if he extends his range, he's a guy that D3 programs around the state are going to be calling for sure after the season.
So loaded area when it comes to seniors. That central
sure.
region is just stacked.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get to some games if they let me in the gym this year up there.
Let's move on south for our top 10 seniors in the South. And I don't think any surprise at the top, right? Who you got number 1?
I got Peyton Jones, number 1 in the South. He was in the state game last year. Barrett lost just an incredible state game against Edward Little. Came right down to the wire. I have no doubt that they'll be right back there as I think the favorites overall. But, you have to let the games be played. Just an incredible athlete, has improved his shot, just so explosive with the ball. An incredible just finisher with both hands. He's a great two-sport athlete. He's a great football player as well. And I just think, if he puts it all together this year, it's going to be, a really close race for Mr. Basketball between, some of these kids at the top. And he's right in the mix. And double A sometimes, he's in double A. Sometimes that's, they favor a kid playing in the biggest schools, but sometimes that means you're not going to put up the biggest numbers either. So,
right.
But yeah, just a great player. That's my number 1 for the South.
And then you mentioned Thornton. They lost a heartbreaker last year, but got to be probably the odds-on early favorites to get back to. And that's because his teammate, you got ranked second in the South. Number 2, who you got?
Dill and Griffin, just an absolute monster matchup for kids. Probably the biggest with him and John Shea. Definitely the biggest kids as far as body mass and just sheer size in the state. Probably 6'6", 6'7", broad shoulders. But like what you don't understand about this kid sometimes for a lot of people when they see him is how quick and fat and just how good of a ball handler and shooter he is. He's a complete player. He's not just strictly a post player. He can hurt you from outside. Good foul shooter, and make some impressive moves off the dribble. From the high post or even from the 3-point line or in transition as well. And I think just that 1-2 combo between him and Peyton is if they really decide like they're going to buckle down and take it 2 kids this year, it's going to be fun to watch.
And those 2 right there, those guys were voted our best duo when we ran that poll a couple weeks ago. And I don't think any question there. But no other Thornton kids in your top 10. Who's number 3?
I got Evan Willie from Lake Region. Big kid, 6'7", 6'8". Can do everything offensively, shoot it from deep three. Good footwork. Can take you off the bounce. Playing for Ryan Martin, who you've had on your podcast out there at Lake Region. So he's, I'm sure he's teaching him some things and trying to bring him along, and get the best out of him. But if I'm a college coach, I'm definitely reaching out to him, D2s and D3s for sure, because I think that he hasn't really he's not at his ceiling yet, for sure. As long as he keeps working on his game, but he's a strong number 3 with the upside that he has. So.
And number 4, we got a kid from York. York probably could have been the favorites to win Class A this year coming back. Had Brady come back, but Brady's not there, but they still got someone else. Very, very good. Who you got at number 4?
I got Tegan Hines, who I feel like last year with Brady Cummins and Will McDonald and Jake Donovan and some of the other seniors that they had, he kind of maybe didn't get the credit as an individual player that he could have gotten, but he was kind of like the little engine behind that like phenomenal team that a lot of people thought was the best team in the state. And maybe if Brady doesn't cramp up in the state game, maybe things go differently against Hampden. Things were going pretty well at the time, but that's all behind us. And going forward, he's really the guy for York. And now that he has the keys, He's a good defender, going to get tons of steals in the passing lane, very high IQ, shoots the 3, finishes strong at the basket, very competitive. He's was a football quarterback, so he's got like leadership, head for the game, and then a point guard on the basketball team. Really, I'm really high on him, and I hope. Even without all the talent, I think that he's going to have a chance to get York back in the tournament. He's that good. So,
number 5, who we got?
I got one of my favorite players to watch. If you like defenders, I got Jacob Humphrey from Bonnie Eagle, a guy that if he was 6'1", 6'2", I have no doubt he'd be a Division I player. Great multi-sport athlete. I think he's going to school. I think he's going to college to play baseball. So he doesn't even spend a lot of time in the off season on his basketball game as far as playing AAU and stuff. But he's a guy that's going to take a charge on a point guard before they get to half court. Seen Nedo multiple times, and the later the game goes, you get into the fourth quarter, he's going to come up with a huge play. He's going to hit a 3 ball. He's going to get an and one off a steal. Just ultra competitive. He's diving on the floor, diving into the bleachers, diving into his own bench to get loose balls. Just the type of guy, he's only 5'10", but he's the type of guy that any coach would literally die to have on their team. He's like Rodman at 5'10", but with way more offensive skill, basically.
All right. Number 6, who you got?
Will Harriman kind of an under the radar guy from Biddeford. I think he's another multi-sport athlete. So, a lot of times the AAU guys get a lot of the credit, or a lot of the hype, or they get seen by like recruiting scouting reports or recruiting reports outside of the state. So guys like this don't necessarily make it on those lists, but Will is kind of do it all forward, is going to get double-digit rebounds, probably put up 20 a game or more for Biddeford this year. Scores with both hands. Kind of, you look at him, you don't think that it's coming, but then all of a sudden he's got 20 and 10 type of kid. And I just love how hard he plays. Probably just watching him play, probably a coach's dream. So,
number 7,
Grant Nedo from Gorham, 6'3", 6'4" point guard. Really, I think has a good chance if his body fills out to have a great college career. I know he's looking at a lot of places right now. Very steady, can hit the 3 ball, the mid range, can score at the basket and a tall point guard. So he got a lot of good passing angles for him. And I think, Gorham has a good combination of players this year. I think that they have a chance to make a run. If they really go after it this year.
Number 8,
Nico Petri from Falmouth. Had some great moments in their tournament games last year. Really actually carried them in some moments in the tournament last year. Really strong, maybe one of the best handles in the state of Maine. And I feel like if he had the, Mike Simons kind of had the keys last year. I feel like if Nico is able to kind of be a bigger part of the offense this year, I feel like he's going to put up some really good numbers. And Falmouth is always good, so that they're going to be right back in the thick of things again this year.
And then number 9.
This guy is another guy that people probably haven't seen a lot of. Brunswick hasn't been super strong in the last few years, and I don't know that he plays a lot of AAU. But I saw him at Ben Tier's camp, top 30 camp this summer, and was just super impressed. Plays above the rim, had a couple nice dunks in traffic, strong, athletic, can handle it. Could play kind of a point forward role, but I mean he can play a traditional 3, probably 3 or 4 in Maine as well. And I think that he's maybe some of the best upside in this group for the college level.
All right. And then last one to round out the top 10 in the South, the seniors this year,
I got Bodie Meter from Gorham, shooter, grandson of the great Dick Meter, who coached at Thomas and Farmington, Maine legend. I think his dad was pretty good. His dad and his uncle were pretty good as well. And just a really good shooter. I know that he was on a recent visit to Husson. And his body's filling out. I think he's added 15 or 20 pounds of muscle this off season. Is really, kind of trying to take his game to another level that way and become more than a shooter, which has kind of been his MO so far. And so I think with him playing off Grant, I think they've got a chance to do some nice things in AA this year in the South.
Absolutely. So that's the top 10 for the 3 regions for the senior class. Like you mentioned, probably 2 of the better seniors that would have been here aren't here, but still a lot of talent at the top and spread throughout the state. I mean, normally people like to say all the talent's concentrated in the South, but I mean, based off what we just went through, I mean, it's spread out.
Yeah, I mean, it's every year I kind of look at the list and I'm like, how's this year going to stack up? And I kind of start saying, well, I think maybe the talent's going down, and then you look at it, and all of a sudden you're looking at the list, and you're like, there's a bunch of there's still a bunch of talent out there. Like I don't. It just seems to find its way and work its way out. At the end of the day.
So we're going to jump into the class of 2022, this year's junior class, and a lot of talent here as well. So for this one here, we'll just run through the top 10s in each region, then we'll hit on a couple players. So just go ahead and rattle off your top 10 for the North here.
Yeah, number one, I've got TJ Hennigan. Big guy, gonna definitely have scholarship looks from Hampden. Got number two, I got Aaron Newcomb from Brewer, great shooter, solid point guard. Number three, I've got Hunter Curtis from Ellsworth, really strong combo guard forward, can do it all, just really tough. Number four, I've got Cecil Gray, one of the bigger kids in Eastern Maine, 6'5", 6'6"-ish. We've got to put up average double for sure. I know he did. He averaged double last year for WA. Number five, I've got Colby Smith, really solid point guard for Brewer. Kind of do it all. Number six, I've got Michael Brigmon, great shooter from Caribou. Really think he has a chance to just take off this year. Have a really expanded role. I think in the tournament he might have had a stretch where he had 3 or 4 threes in a row or more. I can't remember exactly, but I know I've seen him once this summer and I just love his shot. Love how he's grown up. Number seven, I've got Elliot Shearer from Stearns. Saw him at tier camp, really good scorer. Number eight, I've got Andon Wood, point guard from WA. Good off the bounce, strong body for a point guard. Number nine, I've got Joey Morrison from Bangor, really good defender. Kind of in the mold of what I mentioned about Jacob Humphrey, just going to do whatever it takes. You're gonna put him on the best guard for the other team and let him try to take that guy and take that challenge. And then number 10, I've got Max Clark, another solid Bangor player, and just gonna probably be playing off Swez this year, and I think he'll be successful knocking down shots. And his younger brother, who I'll mention later, I think the Clark brothers, I think their dad might be the Hudson football coach. They've just got a good pedigree and just know, like high IQ type players. So that's the 10 from the North.
And TJ Hennigan at the top for class of 2022 in the North, and got to be up there, I would think, when it comes down to overall in the state. It's not a bad guy right there, right? He's someone else whose stock is only going to go up from here on out, right? A bigger role this year after kind of playing a smaller role last year for that Hampden team.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the size that's unmatched, really, in the state, and the length. Phenomenal shot blocker last year, helped Hampden to a state title as a sophomore, and that's going to help him. As far as his mentality going forward. Know that he works with Matt McKenzie at Results, so he's putting a lot of time in. I love the work that Matt does with kids, and I felt like. Watching kids like Isaac Varney and Andrew Swez and Westrich and Lazier, like they're all, every time you saw them, I felt like they were adding a piece to their game. I feel like that's what Matt does really well, is he takes what you already do well and he just expands you and improves what you already do well. So I think he has having been a college player himself, like he just has a good mentality and good approach to helping these kids in the Bangor region.
Getting results from the guys at Results right there, right? Yeah, the name is fitting. And then a couple of the guys we talked about earlier, Brewer being a team to look out for in Class A, Aaron Newcomb, Colby Smith in there, just two of those guys too that are going to make Brewer tough this year, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pick your poison with that team. 6, 7 guys that can hurt you. You're never going to be able to say, well, we're going to shut down Huff tonight. That's the goal. We're going to shut down Smith. We're going to shut down Newcomb. Like somebody's going to hurt you. And the system that they run is very unselfish. So I feel like, as long as they're all working on their game and getting better physically, they're going to be right in the mix. And this is going to be a very strong year in the Bangor area for a lot of teams. I feel like it's going to, if we have a season and we get to watch or watch streams or something, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch those Bangor area teams.
And then Hunter Curtis, another kid that kind of sticks out, part of that Black Bear program, right? Who's had a really good summer and just another kid to watch.
Yeah, his brother Jackson Curtis, I think, was a senior this past year. This kid's just strong. He's just strong. He's gonna finish underneath. He's gonna hit the three. He's a leader. I mean, you can't say enough good things about this kid and what he's capable of on a basketball court.
Let's go to the Central region. We'll do the same thing. Just rattle off your top 10, then we'll touch on a couple of them.
Sure. Number 1, I got David Omasambo from Lewiston. Phenomenal guard. Maybe, right up there with Wyatt Hathaway is one of the best scorers, and Cash McClure is one of the best scorers in the state. John Shea, I mentioned him a little bit earlier, as compared him to Dill and Griffin. Just, got a chip last year as a sophomore with Edward Little. Big, that if he gets you in the right position of the rim, it's over. You're just buried. Like, there's literally nothing you're going to be able to do to stop him. He's that big. Luke Briggs from Coney. I know you just featured him on one of your Instagram posts. Can score from anywhere. Nice outside shot for 6'4", 6'5" kid out of Coney. Number 4, I got Patrick McKinney. And number 5, I've got Trevor Brown, 2 Madomic Valley kids. They had a really successful year. With I think 3, I got Jacob Bigmore a little far down the same list. But they had 3 sophomores leading them last year, and they were like 15-3. So you gotta think that McKinney, Brown, Bigmore, that they're going to have a lot of success this year as a team. When you go 15-3 in class, A or B, I think they're in class A, led by sophomores. You got nowhere to go but up. So those guards can score really well. And I think that when you got kids that are in the same class, you've been playing together for a long time, so you just know each other's strengths and weaknesses. Number 6, I got Ryan Clifford from Camden Hills. Big forward in the 6'4", 6'5"-ish range. Can score inside and out. Number 7, I've got Ali Abdullahi from Lewiston. Maybe one of the best on-ball defenders in the state. I've got number 8, I've got Levi Obear from Skowhegan, one of the better shooters in the state. Ty Henke at number 9 from Mount Ararat. Just a 6'4" guard forward who's really coming into his own. Just saw some recent clips from him. Blue Wave, playing for Blue Wave, and playing really well, making some impressive moves that, for a kid his age and his size, gives me good hope for his future as a star. And number 10, I've got another Lewiston kid, Malik Foster, that's a great combo guard forward that's going to just help lock kids up with their backcourt. So that's my 10 right there.
So three of the 10 from Lewiston. So that's why you got to be excited about Lewiston this season, right? Just a lot of talent.
Yeah, and then they've all been playing, man. That's one of the groups of kids that I've seen the most. Just constantly playing on the weekends, trying to improve their game, working with several people, including, shout out to Mikey Harriman for the program that he's building that's featuring a lot of these kids from Portland and Lewiston, and Christina Blaze from Lewiston, who's done a lot of work with these kids over the years as well.
And then John Shea, you mentioned, got a chip last year, kind of in the same boat as TJ Hennigan, win the championship as a sophomore. Well, going to have a bigger role this year, right? Yeah.
I mean, they had a great group of seniors, Austin Brown, Cam York, Max Creaser, Storm Gibson, and then him. So he's, in the year before they lost, they had Wall. He kind of filled Wall Maywin's spot when Wall graduated. And people probably thought that would mean a huge drop-off because Wall is probably definitely one of the best athletes that ever come from Maine, and he's at UMaine now. Why wouldn't there be a drop-off? And then Big John comes in and helps lead them to a chip as a sophomore. Like that's crazy, honestly.
Shout out to John. He was our inaugural. We got next Wednesday. That was my first guy that I put up right there. So big things coming from Big John right there. Let's jump to the South here. Same thing. We'll right off the top 10, and we'll hit on a couple guys from the South.
So we got Brady Coyne from Falmouth, number 1. great scoring guard, really going to step up with Mike Simons gone. And I think him and Nico could be, and some of the other guys that they have in the backcourt there could really take them a long way. Number 2, I got Ian Murray from Kennebunk. His brother Max was phenomenal last year, going on to play D1 soccer. Ian's coming into his own. Really, NER came and saw him play, and they really thought highly of him. Kind of a combo guard as well. Can't wait to see him on the ball more this year. Got Owen Maloney from South Portland, number 3. Good scorer, gonna be a leader for them this year, I feel like. Number 4, I've got James Sakuzo from Massabesic. Has a chance to be one of the top players, scorers in the state. If he keeps working on his game, nice frame, good athleticism. Number 5, we got James Stoll from Falmouth, great shooter. Number 6, got Ryan Robichaud from Sanford, good forward. Got number 7, Blaine Coburn from Freeport. Really impressed with his game last year as an off guard. Number 8, I got Jacob Stone from Lake Region. Number 9, Jay Hawks from Grey New Gloucester, and number 10, Rowan McDonald from Scarborough.
So in the South, some good names at the top, maybe not as deep as some of these other regions. How would you kind of summarize the South in terms of the class of 2022?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of guards, a lot of smaller kids. You kind of want that balance with bigs. And there's a few bigs further down the list, but it's not the strength. It's not one of the strengths of the South. But guards are fun, man. Guards are fun to watch. A lot of these guys are not afraid to put it up from outside, and they're crafty. Their teams are probably going to be some of the higher scoring teams that we're going to see this year.
And then the 2 guys you have at the top are younger brothers who have come before them and were very good. Which with Brady and Ian in terms of where they stack up. And then they're going to continue and push their family names forward. They have a chance to surpass maybe the brothers that were there before them. I
mean, Tom Coyne, from Falmouth, Brady's oldest brother. I mean, I don't know if it's the oldest in the family. It's the oldest one that I know that played basketball. Played at Bates. He was just phenomenal. He was heady, just a bulldog on the court. It'll be pretty tough, but I mean, and Colin was good as well. But it's about role. I mean, they were on very, very deep teams. I feel like maybe Brady is entering a time when Falmouth isn't the scoring isn't as spread out and doesn't have the great bigs. Like they got bigs, but they're not as maybe strong as the ones from a few years ago. So we'll see. I mean, his numbers might be better. I don't know. The brothers may always disagree that you know how that goes with the sibling rivalry, but he's going to be up there. And Ian, I mean, Ian's a basketball focused kid. Max is bigger, but Ian's very crafty and can score from 3 levels. So we'll have to see. You got a couple years here. So
yep. Let's go to the class of 2023, and we'll just do the top 10. And we're just looking at it. It looks like there's a reason to be excited for the future. It just looks like a talented class with a chance to do big things. So you got your top 10 class of 2023. This is across the entire state, right?
Yeah, I'm going to give 11 names here just because I feel like there's kind of a line for me at 11. It's just such a good class. And I think we talked earlier before we got on about how good I feel this class is. And not only I, but New England Recruiting Report really likes this class. And we just talked about how it's, good for the class to have balance as far as bigs and guards. This class definitely has it. Number 1, I've got Elliot Bouchard from Bonnie Eagle. Kind of really came on at the end of last year for Bonnie Eagle, who had hopes of returning to the state game last year, but it just didn't happen. It was just a tough class last year. But Elliot really, didn't start at the beginning of the year, started more towards the end of the year and just made some just phenomenal leaps. Started hitting 3 balls as a 6'9" player. That's huge. I haven't got to see him this summer. So the last time I saw him was at the NER event. I think right after the season, last season, and before or after, maybe it was in the fall last season, but he, was matching up against some of the best players in the state, and he was holding his own. He can hit a righty left or a lefty hook. I feel, and he's really athletic. I mean, his father was a great Maine player at Maine, one of the better players in Maine history as far as scoring goes. His dad played at Old Ultra Beach and then Chevrolet, and then played at Maine, and then I think went overseas to play in France maybe. And just outstanding athleticism, dunks it really easily. I just, NER has him number one as well. I just think everybody sees the ceiling, and we hope that he gets to that, what everybody thinks that he could be. At number two, I've got Calvin Catchings. Just saw a video that his dad posted of him saying that he's grown to 6'7" now. He was dunking in the video, just easily two-handed, just hammering it. Coming off an injury, so he didn't play this spring and summer. But when I saw him play, matched up against Hampden last year he plays for Gardner. When I saw him play against Hampden last year, matched up with Bryce Lausier and TJ Hennigan, kind of going against those two guys as a freshman last year. He was getting buckets, and that's extremely rare to see. And he was the go-to guy on a Class A team as a freshman. I mean, that's incredibly impressive. I think the sky's the limit for him as well. Number three, I got JP Estrella. I think he transferred to South Portland this year from Scarborough. Really grown. Last year, I think he was maybe scraping the rim. Now he's just hammering it. I saw a video of him dunking off an inbounds pass the other day. His mom played at Boston College, so he's got good genetics there. And I think he'll have a chance to keep growing. So you could see him maybe in the 6'9", 6'10" range as well. He can shoot the three ball. I saw him hit 4 threes in a row at tier camp during gameplay. For a kid that's that big, that's impressive. I say impressive a lot, but this group is one to look forward to. At number 4, I've got Xander Haskell, point guard from Scarborough. Really working on his game a lot. All off season with trainer Kyle McVane from TGK. Had a strong year starting at point guard for Scarborough as a freshman last year in AA. Incredibly tough task, playing against kids like Zach Matero every night. That's a tough job, and I think he handled it really well. And this year, I think he'll be asked to take on more of a scoring load. Number 5, I've got Adam Savage from Skowhegan. I think, have you featured him?
Not yet. No, not yet.
Right, he must be coming up.
Coming.
He big body, 6'5", 6'6", freshman, going to be a sophomore this year.
Yeah.
From Skowhegan, can score with either hand, can finish above the rim already. Got a perimeter games coming along. Number 6, I got Jalen Jackson from South Portland. I think Jalen has a chance, between Jalen and Xander, it's going to be a battle for the top point guard in this class, for their whole careers. I think this is like two guys that we're going to look at, and this doesn't happen a lot, but they're both getting they both got playing time as a freshman, both in the same conference. And they're going to draw comparisons and kind of battling for team success and awards, maybe, for 4 years. And that's pretty exciting to see. Jalen, pure point guard who can make a lot of passes with flair. And if his perimeter game keeps improving, I think he's going to be an offensive phenom for the next 3 years. Number 7, I've got Charlie Houghton. We'll go over to Class C South for this one, up in the woods at Deerago. Averaged close to a double-double last year as a freshman for them. Had some big games. I think he had 29 points in his first varsity game, which is pretty crazy. do a little bit of everything, but he's definitely a guy that's going to battle you inside and on the boards. I think he's in the 6'4" range. Number 8 got Landon Gavridge from Hampden, really athletic wing, can shoot the 3-ball, works with Matt McKenzie at results. Like what I see from him. Number 9, I got Brady Saunders from another Brewer kid. In that just mix of guys who knows who's gonna be the leading scorer every night. 6'1", 6'2" guard forward who can fill it up from anywhere. Number 10, I got Jason Reynolds, kind of an under the radar name from Winslow. Really had a standout freshman year, but didn't get a lot of recognition last year. Put up some big scoring and rebounding numbers for a wing forward. And number 11, I got Madden White from Nokomis, who I've seen a couple times this spring and in summer at tier camp, and really like the way he scores the ball. So
a lot of balance in the class of 2023, right? You got some bigs, got some guards, just a lot of talent up and down.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope this class continues to work. And there's kids beyond this. This isn't the end of the talent, but we had to, this podcast could go on 5 hours if we didn't cut it off somewhere. And so there's a lot of kids that are going to jump in and out of all these lists, and are just beyond the cut, whatever cut we made for the pod tonight.
One thing I noticed too is, we talk about 3 classes, and you see a lot of these same schools where it's just, there's not a drop off. It's just kids that keep coming up to the pipeline, and they just keep pumping them out. So that's one thing that stands out, and just the talent down there in the Portland area, right? With a lot of these kids, a lot of these guards, it's gonna be fun to watch over the next couple of years.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
All right, class of 2023 stacked. So we covered 3 classes: 2021, 2022, 2023. And by region, we're going to get into your overall, your power rankings, regardless of class, regardless of region, your top 10, maybe be a little bit longer than that. But before we do, let's get on some fun topics here. So you also broke down into different categories. So before we get to our very climactic finish here, let's do some fun stuff. So let's start with top 10 shooters. And this is regardless of class, regardless of region. Who you got your top 10 shooters in the state?
I'm just gonna list off the names. This isn't in any order because it'd be too close to necessarily call for the differentiation between the kids. But I think you got to have Casey Cormier in there from Marana Cook. You got to have Wyatt Hathaway from Levitt. You got to have Matt Parent from Messalonsky. You got to have Aaron Newcomb from Brewer. You got to have Bodie Meter from Gorham. Got to have Michael Brigmon from Caribou. You got to have David Omasambo from Lewiston. You got to have Brady Coyne and James Stoll from Falmouth. And I'm going to throw some under the radar guys out there too, just to add on to that. Just guys that I think can make that leap this year, that I know are putting in work. RJ Nichols from Edward Little, Aiden Crystal from Hampden, and Will Bovey from Cape Elizabeth. So that we got a bunch of shooters, from around the state right there.
Could you pick one? Could you pick one at the very, very top? Is it too close?
Best shooter?
Yeah.
There's a difference between a catch and shoot shooter and a guy that can create his own shot shooter. If I had to take one guy, it's telling me to take one guy. This is tough. If I had to take a guy to create his own shot right now, I would take David Omasambo. If I had to take a kid that's just a pure, that I think like every time he shoots it's going in right now, it's Casey Cormier.
Okay.
Marana Cook.
It's a good list right there. Let's do top 10 defenders, or your list of top defenders. And I think if you look at the list, it's a lot of guys you've already named, which is good, which means they're two-way players because, if you're going to make the top 10 list in a region or a state, you probably got to be good on the offensive side of the ball. But these guys, they're good on both sides. So give me your top defenders in the state.
Yeah, I got Chur Mayan from Lewiston. Like I already talked about, his defensive prowess around the rim. I got Sawyer Depre from Caribou. Has been playing both sides of the ball and back-to-back gold ball teams for Caribou. I got Jacob Farnham, one of the better thieves in the state as far as just stripping kids and going the other way. Peyton Jones, same thing. He's athletic to cover anybody, athletic enough to cover anybody. Got Jacob Humphrey. It's kind of what he's known for. Caleb Sidre, who's a kid I haven't mentioned yet, from Wyndham. He actually led kind of quarterback one of the better defensive teams in the state. Wyndham was just a phenomenal team, and although they didn't have great team success last year, they really locked down on a lot of the better teams in the state and made it tough for them to score. You got TJ Hennigan, maybe the best. He's up there with Shearer as one of the best shot blockers or the best shot blocker, and a couple of guys that are kind of under the radar. You got Alex Bambiel from South Portland, a guard defender, and Gavin Perkins from Winthrop, who was a big steals guy and part of Winthrop's success last year.
And looks like just a good mix of wing and perimeter guys too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I try to give the bigs a little bit of credit, even though they're not chasing guys all around the floor most of the time.
So defense, they say, wins championships. Scoring brings in the crowd. Scoring gets all the attention, right? So let's go with your top scorers in the state.
I got Cash McClure coming off 34 in the state game. Just a tremendous performance. I got Wyatt Hathaway putting up huge numbers his whole career. Got Peyton Jones again. Got Andrew Swez, who I think, last year on a very balanced team, didn't post huge scoring numbers, but I think this year he's really going to be asked to carry that load for Bangor, and I think he's up to it. Got Dylan Griffin, who's just a phenomenal 3-level scorer for a big. Got Will Harriman from Biddeford. Got Ryan Crockett, who I think averaged in the upper 20s last year for Old Orchard Beach. Just committed to Maine Maritime Academy, I believe, playing for Walter Phillips and Pillsbury in the Maine Elite program. And I think he had a 49-point game last year for Old Orchard Beach as a junior. Got Brady Coyne, David Omasambo, John Shea, Cooper Davis from Mountain Valley, and Kobe Gilbert from PCHS.
Just a lot of guys that could fill it up right there.
Yep.
And I'm sure some of these guys are going to be on your when it comes to your power rankings over on the state. These guys are going to be on there.
Yeah.
But just looking at it, you got Peyton and Dylan on there, which is the reason why Thornton's got to be one of the favorite to win it all. And just solid list top to bottom right there. All right, let's get to it here. This is the part I'm excited for. And you sent me the list ahead of time, and I don't know if this is in order or not. I don't know if you actually rank these guys one to whatever in terms of overall power rankings in the state. But without further ado, let's get to it. So we went by region. Now we're going to throw it all out the window. I just want to know your list of best players in the state. And like I said, I don't know if this is in order or not, but feel free to rank it from top to bottom if you want. Who you got?
Yeah, let's just do it. Let's just throw all caution to the wind here. And I know most of these guys, and hopefully, if they don't like this ranking, then they're gonna just bust it. And if they see me watching them filming them at a game this year, they're gonna put on a show and prove that I had it wrong. If they don't like where they're ranked, but
let's go backwards then. Let's go from what is it? 10? You got 10 guys?
I think I have 15.
All right, let's go 15 to 1.
All right, 15. I got Grant Nedo from Gorham. 14, Jacob Farnham from Mount Blue. 13, Will Harriman from Biddeford. 12, Brady Coyne from Falmouth. 11, TJ Hennigan from Hampden. 10, John Shea from Edward Little. 9, Casey Cormier from Maranacook. 8, Tegan Hines from York. 7, Evan Willie from Lake Region. 6, David Omasambo from Lewiston. 5, Andrew Suez from Bangor. 4, Wyatt Hathaway from Levitt. 3, Dylan Griffin from Thornton Academy. 2, Cash McClure from Maranacook. And number 1, Peyton Jones from Thornton Academy.
There you go. There it is. There's the power rankings. So I want to ask at the very top, because NER just came out, and I think they had Cash number 1, right? They said he was the number 1 player in the state. So what is it about Peyton that's got you picking him number 1 over Cash?
I mean, I think for this list, I'm just speaking about Maine high school basketball. I mean, NER are ranked solely for college recruiting.
Yep.
And so the way they're looking at a player is different than what I'm what we're doing right here is trying to promote Maine high school basketball. If I was going to give to them a list, not saying that Cash versus Peyton would change, but all my lists would look different if it was just based on college recruiting. And I do that. I provide information to NER for that. But as far as just Maine high school basketball, Peyton has shown that he can take his team to the championship level just as Cash has. Cash is playing in Class B, Peyton's in Class AA. So there's a little bit of a difference there. I don't think that is a difference between them individually, but Peyton does it at the highest level. And I think I've seen both their games grow, and I think at Peyton's peak right now, like when he's playing at his best, I just think he's the best player. And his peak, his highest level, is just maybe a fraction above everybody else. It's close. I mean, it's not like, it could be 1A and 1B, honestly, but I mean, we don't want to, some of this may be just bulletin board material for some of these guys.
One guy I want to ask you about, my man Andrew Suez. So that's one name that we see that's jumped up in this list, and who a lot of people feel could maybe wind up being the best player to come out of this class. You have him at number 5 right now. Do you think there's a chance you could jump to the top of this by the end of the year?
Oh, for sure. I mean, he, like we just talked about when I was ranking the top 10, or thinking back about wherever we mentioned Suez. I mean, he's going to have a bigger role this year. I mean, and what he does with that role, we haven't seen him be the alpha on a team yet. We've seen, Wyatt and Cash and Peyton be the alpha, and Dylan's kind of like the partner in crime with Peyton, who I think they'll just play off each other really well. If Andrew handles that in AA with the tough competition he's going to play, or whether maybe it's going to be a regional schedule so that he's just going to be in the Bangor area killing it this year, which there's still plenty of good teams there. For sure. I mean, any of these kids, I would say like any of those top 6 or even 7 could make an argument for number 1 by the end of the season, depending on how they approach it or how their team's, team success or whatever, so.
But just looking at it, that's a good list right there. I think Maine high school basketball is in good shape when you look at that list 1 through 15, right?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, one thing that I'll say about Maine kids is that, when they step on, between the lines, whatever sport it is, they're going to give it their best. And I love watching these kids that I put on this list compete. They're all competitors, and they wouldn't be as good as they are, some of them in multiple sports, if that wasn't their mentality. So it's fun to watch. Going to be fun to follow. I'm grateful for the platform that you're putting on for these kids to get them mentioned, hear their names, and kind of look forward, gather momentum and looking forward to the season. So
should be a lot of fun. I'm hoping that there is a season. I'm hoping these kids get a chance to play because, like you mentioned, I mean, I'm in the Bangor area, and you just look at the kids on this list that are here in the area I want to go check out and just spread throughout the state. It's going to be exciting. So I hope there is a season. And real quick, I'm going to ask you this. This is your list right here. And we ran the poll for Mr. Basketball, which is a senior award last week. Who's your preseason pick for Mr. Basketball? Is it going to be Peyton?
I mean, that's my pick. I mean, I feel like there's a great chance Thornton wins the AA state championship. I think that gives him a chance. And there's a great chance Cash wins it in Class B. So it's going to be it's probably going to be one of the closer races that we've seen. And I feel like Cash's team is so good, they may be blowing teams out all the year, and maybe that, I don't know how that'll reflect on his own statistical numbers. I think Thornton's going to be really good, but just the competition in AA doesn't really allow you to get those type of spreads where you're not playing in fourth quarters and stuff. I feel like Moranacook's just that good, where it's like it could be like 85-40 all the time. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but maybe they'll play a regional schedule and they'll have more games against Coney and more games against Lawrence and stuff like that.
Should be interesting. We mentioned a ton of kids. Is there anyone else we missed that needs some love that you want to shout out real quick?
Oh man, I mean, you talked to me about trying to give some love to some smaller school kids, I think, before, and I think, sometimes when we look at these, you do an overall state ranking, some of those kids can get overlooked. So I'll just mention a couple from each class, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, let's do it.
And just throw a couple names out there. Kid that I really like in AA that I didn't mention that's coming up, that's going to be a freshman, is Landon Clark. I mentioned it with his brother, but this kid, 6'5", range, 6'4", 6'5", lefty, can already shoot the three ball, really lanky. I think he's got serious college upside to kind of pair with those 2023 kids that are turning into sophomores, as just another stud to look out for in the state. Then you've got another kid that I didn't mention, I don't think, in any other lists, is Trevor Beals from Massabesic. Really hard worker. I think he missed part of his junior year with an injury last year, so that really affected their season. But I really like the way he plays. Very, very strong player for Massabesic. Let's move on to Class A. Let's go with Zach Poisson from going to be Jacob Farnham's partner in crime at Mountain Blue. Good strong guard, and Adam Lux, who is going to probably see some college interest out of Kennebunk, pairing with Ian Murray. Good shooter, strong frame. His sister had a good career at Bentley. I think that he's got a chance to be strong as well. He already is strong. He was already a key player of a good team last year. Just missed the cut for as far as we were talking about that tonight. Class B, I gotta go with let's go with a county kid. Let's go with Malachi Cummings, Terry Cummings' son, up in Presque Isle. Put up some good numbers on a young team last year. Just plays really hard. I think he was at some point last year as a freshman guard, he was averaging like 7 rebounds a game and like close to 15 points. Like Terry, he's going to put the ball up. But, I just love how, like, I'm always going to give credit to the kids that play hard on both ends and try to put up more than just scoring numbers. And I think he's got a chance to have a really strong career there. Then I'll go with Caleb Corey, a guard out of Wells. Really strong guard. Wells just always seems to be in the mix, even no matter what seed they are when it comes to the tournament time. They've got a just tough nose, hard nose mentality. And I think Caleb and Gavin Layton will have a chance to get Wells back up in the thick of things this year. Class C, let's go with let's mention Austin Delisle. Let's mention a Fort Kent kid.
There we go. Shout out to Austin.
Up there in Fort Kent.
Yeah.
Basketball family. I think he has a chance to have a strong year this year for them. And let's go with Gabe Carey, kid from St. Dom's, transferred from Greeley and averaged 17 a game last year as a sophomore. Was up near the top in three-pointers in his conference. I think he's got good leadership skills, and I think kind of helped turn around a St. Dom's program that had won 2 games in like the last 3 or 4 years, and I think they made it to a prelim game last year. With the help of a kid that came in and transferred and averaged 17 points a game. So as a sophomore. And then a couple names to mention from Class D. I'll go with Miles Brown from Deer Isle Stonington. Nice guard from them. Go with an Alvin Beal from Jonesport Beals, and the Beal name carries on. I played against I don't know if it's his dad or relative. I played against an Alvin Beal for a couple years in the tournament when I was in high school, and I think that that just a strong tradition and a strong name there in the Down East area.
Absolutely. So. Some name drops right there. Some school drops, some name drops, and just all kinds of love for kids all around.
Had to finish strong.
Yeah. But, that just goes to show you, right, talent everywhere across the state right now. Yeah.
I love it. I'll continue to, follow and support Maine basketball players and try to, and what you're doing. And if anybody wants to see some videos, there's going to finally be some trophy mode mixes dropping real soon.
The streets are waiting, man. The streets have been dying for some trophy mode mixes.
I'm going to try to give a lot of people some love that have been waiting on it
Absolutely.
for a while. But, I hope we're moving in a better direction with everything. And I hope that we, come January that we're either in the gym or watching some of these names on some streams from around the state.
Absolutely. Shout out to Trophy Mode. Puts in the work. Not only is he out there making the mixes, he got these lists just lined up, ready to go, that he keeps updated. And this was just part one of what we're doing here. So we just came out with the rankings, but we're also going to be doing a fantasy draft coming up here. We're going to have some team captains and pick some players across the state and see what we can come up with for some fantasy teams here and get some fan interaction. So that'll be coming soon as well. So that'll be fun. But shout out to Trophy Mode, coming through, delivering as always. Anytime I need anything, I'm just like, Trophy Mode, what you got? I need this, and he's got it ready to go. So shout out to Trophy Mode.
Well, thanks for doing what you do. Can't wait to come back on and discuss more hoops, more players. I'll be down to do a kind of a ranking of past players and like an all-time list or something like that. Because I live for like the Big Time Hoops podcast coming out every week. The Zach Ray podcast was the bomb. That was a very impressive.
That was a lot of fun
conversation and a lot of memories going back down memory lane. So that was sweet. So thank you for what you do, and thank you for having me on, man.
Yeah, hopefully we can watch some basketball. I'm preparing for the worst. I'm hoping for the best, preparing for the worst. And if we've got to prepare for the worst, then there's going to be a lot of stuff like this, a lot of rankings and fantasy stuff, and just going back and reliving this. There's no shortage of things to go back and cover. So there'll definitely be no shortage of content coming from Big Time this winter, regardless of what happens. And like you said, Trophy Mode about to flood the streets with the mixtapes, and the world is waiting. So shout out to Trophy Mode. Make sure you guys go ahead and tune in next week if we're going to do a fantasy draft coming up. It's going to be fun. And just go check out all of our previous episodes. A lot of guys were mentioned tonight that have been on the podcast. We got a lot of great stories. So make sure you go check those out. And we'll see you next week with another Big Time episode of Big Time Hoops, the podcast. Thank you.